Not to start this episode off so defensively, but I'm not like other PC enthusiasts. I'm mainly utilitarian. I mean, look at my PC. You think this build screams someone who cares about aesthetics? No, it doesn't. All that matters to me is getting the best performance for the absolute cheapest price. Take my piece of rubbish RTX 3090. This is the Trinity OC model from Zotac that was sent out to die. Poor thermal solution, crappy paste job, and a lobotomized fan curve means this unit left the factory with one foot in the grave already. Despite my best efforts, it still overheats occasionally, and it's only a few more hard throttles from bricking completely. Yet despite that, I still rock with it. I mean, how could I not, since I got it for trading an RTX 3070 plus $200. Not a bad deal at all. And take my i7 14700K, which I recently got for $250. Not bad for a 20 core and 28 thread CPU. My whole build is around $1,000, and that's a lot of computer for such a competitive price. I could stand to add some more storage, and definitely upgrade to a more efficient GPU, but why bother? Well, besides me being broke, I don't bother because my needs are currently being met. Or well, I thought so at least. There's always one aspect of the computer experience I neglect, and I hardly ever think about it.
Everybody is interested in better displays, bigger displays, super VGA, better resolution. Why the sudden interest in displays?
Well, I think there are three major trends that are causing it. First of all, in terms of the bigger displays, people nowadays are running multitasking. They're running multiple things at a time, and they need a larger screen to be able to see what they're doing.
Right. The display is probably one of the most, if not most important facets of your computing experience. I mean, you end up staring at the thing for thousands of hours on end, but honestly, I never really hear too many people talking about displays online. Now don't get me wrong, of course people are discussing which displays to get and which ones are the best types, but it's not as pervasive of a discussion as, say, what new CPU to upgrade to. But usually that's enthusiast talk. To most people, displays are sort of an afterthought, just a random screen they throw up on their desk before calling it a day. I mean, let's look at my current ones. I've got a triple monitor setup. On the left and the right, I'm rolling with some random HP 1080p 60Hz monitors, and the center attraction is some Spectre 1440p monitor. I got it like 4 years ago, and at the time, I thought I was fancy because it was a 75Hz panel. Ooh, yeah. And you know what's even funnier? I still only ran the monitor at 60Hz because I didn't have a DisplayPort cord to unlock the full refresh rate. Yeah, those were the awkward teen years of my tech life. I don't even know what I was really doing back then. And truth be told, I'm still not sure. Look at this. I just spent over $400 on a new PC monitor. And as you can see, I haven't unboxed it yet or dove right in. A part of me is a bit nervous about it. I'm a little out of my element when it comes to monitors, and I didn't do a ton of research before pulling the trigger. I pretty much looked at the spec sheet, asked my buddy Silicon Steak what he thought about it, and after his go-ahead, well, I bought it. So, if you're watching this, Steak, I'm blaming you if this thing sucks. My quarry for today is the Innocn? Yeah, that sounds about right. The Innocn 4K 27-inch mini LED monitor. Right out of the box, the monitor impresses me with its solid build quality and a modern design. I'm a sucker for that generic silver you see a lot of devices use when they're trying to look premium. I don't know, I just like how the color catches in the light. HP has been notorious for this, but I can't get enough of it if I'm being honest. The Innocn monitor takes that to a very tasteful degree. You've got very small bezels nestled within a thin silver strip around them. On the back side, it's more of the same. All plastic silver, but with recessed corners for RGB lights to shine through. You can adjust these in the display's built-in menu, but personally, I just leave them on their default setting. It's not like I'm going to be looking at them myself. And that's it for how the monitor itself looks. I've seen gaming monitors online before, and some of the top-end stuff looks so gaudy. I guess if I was running a gaming cafe, it'd be appropriate, but I'm at home. Who are you trying to impress with all of this? Oh, speaking of impressive, I do like that this monitor has a pivot sensor and an adjustable arm, so you can tilt your display into just about whatever orientation you want. A little setup in Windows is required after you tilt the display, but I can't deny how handy this is, especially for people who do any sort of long-form text work. For my work personally, I prefer the horizontal real estate, but having options is always nice. And speaking of options, this port selection is just great. Connectivity is robust, featuring USB Type-C with up to 90 watts of power delivery, dual HDMI 2.1 ports, one DisplayPort 1.4 port, and 3 USB Type-A ports. You also get a USB Type-B port, which I didn't know what it was for at first, but check this out. USB Type-B lets you use your monitor as a sort of extra USB hub. You can plug devices into the monitor and have them still accessible by your PC. This comes in handy a ton for me and my laptop because I already load mine up with a bunch of hubs and random devices. I need all the ports I can get. Now on to the main course. Beyond the ports, build quality, and random features, the most important thing about this display is the panel, the thing you're going to be staring at for hours on end. What's the skinny on that? Well, it's a 27-inch 4K Ultra HD panel with a resolution of 3840 by 2160p. You're looking at a 160Hz refresh rate with FreeSync support, nice, and a 1 millisecond response time. It delivers very wide viewing angles while also having HDR support of up to 1000 nits. For content creators, the monitor covers 99% of the DCI P3 color gamut and 99% of the Adobe RGB color gamut, ensuring accurate color reproduction. Factory calibration reports indicate a delta E of less than 2, making it very suitable for professional photo and video editing. And can I just say how much I love that they included these reports in the box? I'm not sure if this is an industry standard for monitors, but they really didn't have to do this, but I appreciate the gesture and the transparency. The mini LED backlighting technology features 1,152 local dimming zones, achieving deeper blacks and brighter whites. This results in a contrast ratio that enhances both gaming and multimedia experiences, though it's not perfect. This is a rare opportunity, but I just so happen to have my own laptop with an OLED panel. Now, you'll hear people tout mini LED as the end-all be-all and replacement for OLED, and I just don't agree myself. But very quickly, let's go over the differences. Here's a quick breakdown of the differences between OLED and IPS mini LED. OLED has pixel-level lighting. Each pixel emits its own light, allowing for perfect blacks and infinite contrast. With your color accuracy, you get rich, vibrant colors with wide viewing angles. Though of course, burn-in is a potential risk because prolonged static images can cause burn-in over time, though with modern panels, this isn't something really to worry about that much. And of course, power efficiency. These panels are more efficient in darker scenes because you have fewer pixels emitting light. Then for IPS mini LED. For its backlit display, it uses mini LED, of course, as a backlight behind an IPS panel, with local dimming zones for better contrast. You get improved brightness, higher peak brightness than OLED, which is great for HDR. And of course, you get less of a burn-in risk because no individual pixels are being turned on, therefore you can't have anything being static and burning into the display itself. And of course, for contrast, it is nowhere near as deep as OLED, but it is much better than a traditional IPS panel. In short, OLED excels in contrast and deep blacks, while IPS mini LED offers higher brightness and is safer for static content. And this is just plain to see in these side-by-side comparisons. To set this up, I connected my laptop to the Innocn monitor and used the same wallpapers to demonstrate the differences. My HP Pavilion 14 Plus has a 2.8K 120Hz OLED screen, which I feel is the closest comparison I'm going to get with this monitor. Look at my Persona 3 wallpaper. You see that fuzzy looking bright spot on the Innocn monitor? Yeah, that's the 1152 dimming zones trying to compensate for something they were not made to do. Deliver true and deep blacks. Just think about the sheer difference for a second. My laptop screen has a resolution of 2880 by 1800p, and each pixel can turn off and on as needed. How can a 4K panel with a little over 1,000 dimming zones compete? Well, brighter content of course doesn't exhibit this shortcoming, but I feel that this is a pretty big draw to IPS-based tech. I'll deal with the potential burn-in of an OLED panel before knowingly sacrificing visual quality like that. For someone so utilitarian about their own displays, I have always been a freak about that sort of IPS panel glow. I hate it with a passion. I don't want my blacks to look gray. It just looks awful, you know what I'm saying? But that's the price you pay for everything else. I should be thankful it wasn't a full-blown IPS panel. I mean, ugh! Besides the half step between IPS and OLED, Mini LED offers another benefit: excellent motion clarity. Yeah, let's take a look at this baby with some games. Now, this section will unfortunately be a bit more fly-by-night than you're probably used to. I'm like Tony Stark's dad, limited by the technology of my time, or rather, limited by my meager budget. I don't have the tech to properly demonstrate the benefits of motion clarity on this display, but I'm going to do my absolute best to yap about that instead. Games on this panel look really good. I honestly don't know what else to say. Contrast in lighter areas looks great, and the brightness is insane. 1100 nits is nothing to sneeze at. Motion clarity is within spec as well. I'm not noticing any panel tearing or smearing on the frames themselves. The panel is doing its job correctly, which is nice. Even playing a game at a lower refresh rate on the screen feels better than another monitor with the same refresh rate. So let me explain a little bit further. Say you have two monitors. One is a 120Hz monitor and the other is a 60Hz monitor. If you set the 120Hz monitor to 60Hz, well, it's still refreshing every 8.3 milliseconds, compared to 16.6 on the 60Hz panel. This means inputs are processed faster, even if the same game is running at 60 FPS on both screens. Then you also get reduced frame time jitter. On a 120Hz monitor, every frame is displayed twice, at an evenly spaced interval, which creates smoother motion compared to a 60Hz screen, where every frame lingers just a little bit longer. This is what you want, alright? The monitor just produces a very pleasant image to your eye. Even text renders out really sharply and has nice clean edges. Compared to my Scepter monitor, it's just night and day. Even playing the same games at the same resolution and settings on both monitors just produces a better image on the 4K one. But this is expected. We're talking about going from a 1440p 75Hz cheapo monitor to a 4K mini LED beauty. They are not even in the same playing field. It's like comparing two card players together before realizing one of them is a professional poker player and the other casually plays Old Maid. After using this monitor for a few weeks, I can confidently recommend it for its asking price of $427. You're getting a lot of monitor for such a decent price. 4K, mini LED, and 160Hz with FreeSync are nothing to sneeze at. Looking at this monitor makes me feel like I've just stepped into the 21st century for the first time. So, if you're someone like me who's been rocking a bargain bin trash monitor for the last 10 years, then my tech brother, it's time to upgrade. Out with the old, in with the new. This is a monitor that I can definitely see lasting for several years on end, and it's going to be a viable display for high refresh gaming. I mean, well, besides the deluge of esports titles, a lot of your eye-candy AAA games are struggling to get past 60 FPS at native resolutions with 4K. So, I think the Innocn monitor has nothing to worry about in that regard, just as you have nothing to worry about regarding me and my content. Until next time, everybody, ciao.